Both guys were outstanding.
38 here, Big 550, KTRS. Ladies and gentlemen, if you go to high school with our next guest, you too could also become governor of the great state of Missouri. Good morning, Andy Strickland.
McGraw, pleasure as always.
Have you talked to your former classmate, Eric Wright?
You know, I haven't. I don't think I've talked to him in 20 years, to be honest with you.
But you were more friends with his brother, right?
Correct. Yeah, Mark. Mark was a year older than me, went to Boston University.
What's Mark doing now?
He lives in Chicago.
Okay.
But Eric went to Duke, and he was 3 years older than me, although we did have a class together. And I did know Eric. My brother and him were in the same class. They were definitely friends.
All right, there
Very
you
good
go.
Friends. Yeah.
Your brush with greatness here on the Big 550 KTRS.
Yeah, this whole I can't predict elections. I've realized I'm much better at talking about hockey than I am at predicting elections because I was wrong about everything.
Everybody was wrong about everything. By the way, the Dow hits a all-time new high, up 140 this morning. The Dow Jones Industrial Average up 18.
Can you explain that to me? Because I don't understand how the night of the election, like the Dow and all how it's impacted by the election results.
So the experts will tell you that it was baked in the cake that Hillary was going to win.
Right.
Okay, so that's what they thought. Now, because it was an upset, the markets don't like change. They don't like to not know something.
Okay.
So it was different. It was new. They had to get their hands around it.
They like things that are predictable.
Right. So it was a shock to them. So when mass sell-offs. Then once the initial reaction came on, then they thought, guess what? They own everything. So there's going to be no one blaming the other one for deficit spending. Well, government spending is really good for companies because guess what? You build roads, you build bridges, you build all sorts of things. So you're going to be spending again. And so the financials were saying, wait, if we're going to go into deficit spending and the deficit's going to increase, that means interest rates are going to go up. That means banks are going to make more money. So the financial industries took a giant boost yesterday because of that.
Okay, good answer.
That's sort of in a nutshell. Now, can you explain to me how my Blues are doing so far?
Well, they're doing pretty good. At least this past road trip, they went. They got 5 out of a possible 6 points. I thought last night's game was one of the best hockey games I've watched in a long, long time. I mean, it really was. I mean, you talk about two teams loaded with great players, two teams that are very well coached, with Joel Quenneville being the third best coach in the history of the NHL in terms of wins. Ken Hitchcock, the fourth best coach in the history of the NHL in terms of wins. It was just a really well-played game. It's unfortunate that a penalty at the end of the game, and that type of penalty, Alex Pietrangelo, delay a game penalty, inadvertently, flips the puck from his own end over the boards into the stands. That's a delay game penalty. And I know officially it was an even-strength goal scored in overtime, but still, Pietrangelo was just getting out of the box. So it was essentially a 4-on-3 situation. So we hardly even had an overtime before Artemi Panarin finished the game off for Chicago. He's a young superstar for the Blackhawks. But just a great game. Good to see the Blues come back and tie it up late and at least get a point. The goaltending, by the way, both sides, was as good as you're going to see in terms of a hockey game with goaltending from both sides. Both goaltenders, McGraw, were unbelievable, sensational.
How come hockey makes it so hard to score? Why don't they make it easier to score?
Because these goaltenders are getting better and better and better. I mean, the average size for a goaltender right now is north of 6'2". These guys are huge. People talk about the equipment getting bigger. They try.
Why don't they make it? Why don't they fix that?
Well, they've regulated the equipment where it's slimmed down goaltenders now compared to what it was, probably 10 years ago, where it was really becoming impossible. But these goaltenders, and just coaching youth hockey, watching, the top 16, 17, 18-year-olds in the country, it's difficult to score at that level. These guys are so good, McGraw. There's only 60 of them in the world that play in the National Hockey League. All these guys, from the best goaltender in the league to the last backup in the league, they're all capable of having a great game, shutting a team down, and just making it very difficult to score. I mean, if you watch the saves some of these guys make from an athletic standpoint, they're incredible. It used to be you just put the fattest kid in goal,
right,
who had no athletic ability whatsoever. Now these guys are incredible athletes. Sometimes the best athlete on the team is the goaltender.
I get all of that. But if people like scoring, right, if scoring is the exciting part of the game, like football, they change the rules to make it easier to score.
Yes. Well, scoring is way up this year.
Is it? Okay.
Oh, yeah. It's way up this year, and it is much easier. They have changed the rules in hockey.
All right, so there you go.
Just like they've done in football.
Well, how come the Blues aren't scoring then?
Well,
They're
question.
weird. They score like one goal,
Yeah,
9 goals.
I know.
No, 2
I know.
goals, 1
Yeah.
goal, 15
Well,
goals.
I think the biggest concern for this hockey team coming into the year was the lack of firepower. Who was going to score outside of Vladimir Tarasenko? Would they have enough goal scoring? And they had a ton of chances last night. I think, it's a little bit frustrating talking to some of the guys after the game. I mean, they still got to find a way to beat Corey Crawford, who is the goaltender for Chicago. He made some incredible saves. One save in particular on Vladimir Tarasenko was one of the best saves of the year for sure.
All right. Hockey Sense tonight?
Hockey Sense is actually Friday because the Blues play tonight in Nashville. So we don't go head-to-head against the Blues. Why would we do that, right? So it's going to be Friday night. Tonight is the night, by the way, on Fox Sports Midwest. Tune in to the pregame show, hour-long edition, starting at 6 o'clock. We will unveil the roster for the alumni game coming up, which is going to play on December 31st. This is going to be very, very cool. I can't let the cat out of the bag.
Are you coaching one of the alumni teams?
I will not be coaching.
Are you assistant coaching?
No.
Are you the trainer?
No, but hopefully I'll be down there interviewing, and you know what? You talk about a star-studded roster. This is going to be...
Is Twist going to be in there?
Well, I said I can't let the cat out of the bag, but I don't
thought I'd ask.
I don't think he is.
No, really?
I don't think so.
Oh, you're afraid of him?
No, I'm not. I'd love to see Tony Twist. And I don't want to say yes or no because I'm not officially 100% sure on Tony Twist. I don't know.
All right.
Yeah. But there are some big-time names, I'll tell you that.
Is it alumni versus alumni?
Is
that the deal?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so you have Chicago versus St. Louis. I think the St. Louis...
And that's for the Winter Classic.
Correct.
Deal.
I think the St. Louis roster is going to be filled with far more recognizable names and far more stars than what you're going to see with the Chicago roster. They also have a centennial game. It's the 100th anniversary of the NHL.
Right.
They're having an outdoor game and an alumni game played in Toronto between the Maple Leafs and the Detroit Red Wings. There are a number of players who played for those organizations who also crossed over and played for the Blues and or the Blackhawks who will not be participating in the alumni game here in St. Louis because they're playing in that game. That's impacted and affected the alumni game a little bit. Not as much on the Blues side, although it has impacted on the Blues side.
Are the Blackhawk alumni going to play the Blues alumni?
Correct.
That's the deal. Okay.
Yeah.
Right,
so it's impacted both rosters, but still, plenty to go around. I mean, the names on this roster, you'll be very, very impressed.
Andy Strickland, Fox Sports Midwest. Hockey Sense here on the Big 550 KTRS, Friday night, 7 o'clock, O.B. Clark's. Thanks for coming in.
Appreciate it. As always, have a great day, McGraw.
Have a great day. 8:45 here.